Same thing. Two brass rounds for weapon system. Yeah, you could. I'm looking for. How'd it go? I didn't. We went fine with the brass. The brass gets tall. Hey, what is it? Yes.
I'd rather rack the hell.
Do me a favor when we load these polymer rounds.
Fire today.
Oh, it's a double feed. Okay.
Brass or the
I shot it once.
this gun, I've sent it back to
Might as well.
Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and man, am I coming to you with a really awesome range report today. This range report is on the Meridian Defense AK, I guess they call it the Pestilence. It is one of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse series. I guess they made all of these different AK-themed builds based off of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse from Revelation in the Bible. So you have war, death, famine, and this is Pestilence. And this rifle is on loan to the channel from one of my local subscribers, Matt Moore, who of course is a big AK guy. He was so kind, said, hey, I recently got this and would like for you to review it. Now I know a lot of other AK channels have reviewed them, given them lots of very positive comments, so I was very excited to get my hands on this, and everybody knows that Meridian Defense makes some awesome AKs. So, I also want to preface this video just by saying, you guys know I'm more of an AR guy than an AK guy. So my opinions on this are just coming from that perspective. I'm a casual gun collector filming a video in my garage. So I know a lot of times when I review AKs, people can get a little bit upset or want to feel like they have to tell me certain things that I get wrong about the review or why my opinions about the rifle are wrong. First off, if you want to do that, I'm perfectly fine with it. Just don't be mean about it. For some reason, every time I review AKs, people feel like they got to go in the comment section and just be mean. So, if you want to tell me how wrong I am, I'm perfectly fine with that. But, just don't be mean about it. It's not what my channel's about. We're here to have fun and talk about awesome and cool guns, which is what this is. All right, so let's first off talk about Matt's rifle here, what he's added to it, then I'll go over the specs of the rifle and then tell you my opinions after being able to shoot it at the range. He has added a Trijicon MRO with the green dot, which I absolutely love. I actually own 2 of these optics personally myself. They are absolutely fantastic. I know that sometimes people complain about the actual reticle itself and how the dot isn't quite circular. I actually really like it and find it very effective, and I like the shade of that dot. He also has a Streamlight weapons light here on the front, and he has added, of course, a kind of a traditional AK sling here. Besides that, I think everything else is stock. So let's go over what actually comes on the rifle. I have my phone out here, and there's a lot to cover here. This is from Meridian Defense's website. It talks about the Pestilence rifle, and it's built from a Romanian parts kit, of course chambered in caliber 7.62 by 39, your typical AK-47. It has an MDC-47 1mm fully heat-treated receiver, so it is an American-made receiver. It has a side rail for use with standard AK side-mounted optics, an MDC-4150 CMV black nitrided barrel, which is 14.5 inches pinned to 16. So this chamber break here is pinned and welded to make it overall 16 inches. I've never shot an AK with a 14.5 inch barrel before, and I'll say that ballistically, well, from what I could tell at the range, I couldn't sense any difference in accuracy. I felt it was a really accurate rifle, but I'll talk about that in just a moment. It says it has an MDC front sight base fully machined, and it's a combo gas block, which I really like these types of gas blocks on the AK platform a lot. It has an Ultimax M1913 Picatinny gas tube right here, so you can mount optics and lights just like Matt has done. It says that it comes with a Tapco G2 tuned fire control group. So I'm not sure if Matt changed this out or it came this way. This has the ALG trigger in it, which is personally my favorite AK trigger on the market. It's a subsidiary of Geisley, and they make an amazing AK trigger. I've put this in all the AKs that I own, and it is an awesome, awesome upgrade. It says that it has a Tango Down AK grip, a custom refinished apocalyptic wood furniture, or APOC. So this is something too aesthetically that at first I didn't like. Not necessarily about this rifle, but about rifles in general. Ones that are made from parts kits, or ones that have a finish that is already pre-worn, pre-distressed. But I gotta say, Matt has a couple of these rifles that are Romanian parts kits, and I really like it when they do that distressed finish. At first, I was kind of looking at like people that buy jeans with holes in them. It's like you bought stuff that's already broken. Why would I go out and buy a television that already doesn't work, right? But I gotta say, it fits the theme of the rifle. When you buy one of these rifles, you're buying it for the theme. It's the apocalypse, the apocalyptic rifles. So I think it really fits that look and that dystopian future really well, and gives it a really cool look. And it says it has their custom battle-worn finish, and it's a and one steel com-block AK magazine. So there you go. So that is the features of this rifle. Now I gotta say, from just handling the rifle before I took it to the range, I have to say I ran the action, took it apart, and I was really impressed with the machining in this. Normally AKs, to me, they're just not as refined as ARs. And I'm not really sure why, when you order one of these rifles, the lead time on these is 40 weeks. To me, the whole point of the AK and why Kalashnikov came up with the design was to come up with a rifle that was cheap and easy to manufacture. So you would think that modern tooling and modern AK gunsmiths could turn these things out relatively quick, but they can't. Now, I do know a lot of time and quality and build goes into this, so there's a lot of engineering and a lot of, just as I said, quality control, so I can appreciate that. But it's supposed to be a super simple rifle. So that is one of the downsides, I think, to this, is that when you do buy it, you have the choice of paying everything up front, or I guess according to their website, it's like a $500 deposit. But then you have to wait 40 weeks. That's longer than an NFA tax stamp. That is absolutely mind-boggling to me. But it is what it is, and if you like Meridian Defense stuff and love AKs, maybe it's completely worth it to you. But let's talk about the value, though. I will say that the value of this rifle, according to their website, is in the sub 2,000. I'm gonna say it's like $1,700. And I think you get a lot of rifle for that price. I mean, if you really think about it, you get a lot of other kind of mass-produced AKs, sometimes in like the $1,200 range nowadays with the crazy panic prices. So only $500 more, you get a hand-built, hand-precision-made rifle. And I think it's completely worth it. Probably the price on this rifle should be more, to be honest with you, with everything that goes into it. So I got it here in the garage. I was able to run the action, and that's the first thing I noticed about this gun before I even got it to the range, is that, as I said, it's an unrefined rifle. AKs are unrefined rifles, but the way this one is built, The action on this rifle is so smooth. It might not sound smooth on camera, but the action, you just run this and you realize this thing is really well built and well put together. I do know that all the trunnions, all the important parts are going to come from forgings, and they're not just cast metal. They're not going to put any type of junk in this gun. And I've really liked the Tango Down AK grip. I had no idea they even made AK grips. I really like the texture and the look of this. So if you're going to go for an AK that doesn't necessarily use all comm block furniture or traditional looking furniture, I like this AK grip. Now let's talk about the Romanian Dong. I know it's a funny name. The thing about this, I like it from the fact that I love vertical foregrips. And I talked about this on the other underfolder that I reviewed of Matt's, also based off of a Romanian parts kit, is I like it and it works well. It feels good in my hand. But on this rifle, it doesn't fit it as nice. For some reason, I don't like it. I think I like a traditional kind of AK style foregrip. And the main reason is the magazine. So I don't know if it just has to do with the way this one was cut or the way this gun is built. When you put in the magazine here, it barely clears that vertical foregrip. And it does, I mean, and there's a way to like manipulate it where you can get it in where it doesn't rub on it to get that magazine in, but getting it in and out, it will rub. In fact, there's a little bit of an indentation right here. Matt even told me about that. I just kind of feel like that could have been changed in some way or adjusted or not have it at all. But it's an aesthetic thing. This is what comes on these Romanian parts kits. Is it a deal breaker for me? No. I would still love to have a rifle like this, and I would definitely go with this, especially if it's the way that it came from Meridian. But I do find that if you were possibly going to use this in some type of competition or in a situation where magazine changes are crucial and the timing of those is important, this might actually get it in the way. I don't show it on camera, but when I was at the range shooting, I did try a couple of quicker magazine changes. This does get in the way. And it's the same thing with Magpool. This is a, I don't know what this one is. This might be just a comm block mag. It's not marked. But Matt also sent some other magazines as well, some Polish ones, I think. They all have the same problem because they pretty much all have the same dimensions. You can get them in with no problem. You just kind of can't rock them in as far. So it will just get in the way. So this is one of the things about the rifle I didn't like. Now, let's talk about the Ultimax Picatinny rail. This is the other thing I had issues with. I actually think it's an extremely high quality rail, and I love how sturdy it is. You know, the AK, because of the time it was designed in, just wasn't able to be as modular maybe as its AR-15 or M16 counterpart. So sometimes, you know, you have people that have the Picatinny rails here on the dust cover, which of course these can move and will have a little bit of slop in them, so you really can't put an optic on here and have it be zeroed. So that's why they come up with the rail system, which I don't mind at all. But of course, once you have the rail on, you can't get the top cover off that easy. So to have the Picatinny rail on here, it's solid. It's really nice. Of course, to mount the optic, it holds 0. And of course, you have all of the accessories that you would want further out on the rifle than having to be mounted up here on the top cover. The downside to this rail, hands down, is it gets hot. It gets real hot. Matt was so kind and I think gave us like, I don't know, I think it was like 200 rounds, 250 rounds of ammo. I brought some of my own, and I gotta say, I got this rifle hot. Now, I did not do mag dumps with it. I was just casual shooting. I could tell just from holding it up here, especially my thumb, because when I ride the dong up here, my thumb would want to get right up here next to the rail, and it is metal, and that thing was getting hot, so I had to bring that down quite a bit to avoid the heat. And I was feeling the heat transfer. This gas tube gets hotter than any other gas tube on any AK I've ever shot. And that actually concerned me because, you know, you do have the Streamlight up here. Now, I think the Streamlight could probably take the heat. I don't know how it would affect the battery over time. That would kind of concern me with the lithium battery. But this mount that he has some distance between where it's touching the rail and the Streamlight. But the optic here, which he's running a Trijicon low profile sight base here, this is taking the brunt of all of the heat. Now, Matt said he did contact Trijicon and explain to him what they were putting it, or what rifle he was putting this on, and they said it's perfectly fine. It is rated for that type of heat and you shouldn't have to worry about it. But like I said, it gets really hot. And Trijicon makes good stuff and they're gonna warranty their products. but I don't know if I would necessarily want such a nice optic getting that warm. So I think it's kind of a pro and the con. You get a very versatile and solid mounting solution to an AK with this rail, but the downside is that it gets hot and uncomfortably hot. So if I was going to take this thing to the range, I really couldn't shoot it in one long range session going 200 or 300 rounds. It would just get in the way for me. It would just be hot and uncomfortable. But as I said, if it's going to be kind of shorter bursts and then let the rifle cool, it wouldn't be an issue. So how did this thing shoot? Well, first off, it shot amazing. Out of any AK I have ever handled, this is probably the best AK I've ever shot. It was super accurate, and the way it's machined, as I mentioned, with the bolt just being so smooth. While Matt asked me, he goes, does it really shoot more like a 22 or a 223? I don't think so. It still feels like a 7.62 by 39, but it doesn't have the same recoil impulse. It's definitely lighter. This is a much softer shooting AK than what I'm used to when I shoot 7.62 by 39. Some of it too could be this 3-chamber brake. The brake works exceptionally well. The downside to this brake, however, I discovered was standing to the side. As you can see in the video, both me and my wife shot this. When I was behind the rifle, I did not feel the concussion of the blast at all. It definitely directs the gases to the side and holds the rifle down. But when I was filming and standing to the side, I could feel the concussion of it. So if you care about the report of the gun, or you're gonna have people standing next to you while you shoot, they're gonna feel this. So obviously the brake works exceptionally well. I might wanna have more of a flash hider or a brake that pushes the gases forward just for that. Maybe I'm kind of blast sensitive, but it wasn't obnoxious or anything. But it was definitely something that I hadn't felt on many other AK devices. The downside to this, of course, is that it is pinned and welded. I'm not sure if they even offer it where you can buy it as an SBR. Maybe they do, and you can just fill out the tax stamp, and by the time they have the 40-week lead time, they don't have to, pin and weld this thing. But I guess if you did SBR it, you can drill that pin and weld out and get it off if you wanted to change the muzzle device. But if you're not, you're kind of married and stuck to this one as it's part of the design. Something else I really like is this gas block. This gas block is awesome. I love it when the gas block and the sight are built in together. I've had problems in the past when it came to front sight bases that were canted on AKs because they're separate. You have the gas block up here, front sight base up here. And here they're integrated, which forces the people making it, which of course Meridian would make awesome stuff, that everything is lined up. And everything is lined up great, and I think it's a very attractive looking gas block. I really like that. And so it's kind of based off of my other experiences with other AKs. So, as I mentioned, super accurate. Man, this thing was so much fun. This thing outshot me, and I'm a pretty good rifle shooter, I think, to kind of offhand, just standing up, shorter ranges. And I like CQB style of shooting. I'm not someone that's going to take this thing out to 300 yards, 400 yards, but I can tell you, you definitely could. This thing was so accurate. Of course, it's also the Trijicon optic. I love this thing. So this is just one awesome AK and might be the best AK I've ever shot in my life. I love this thing. Has a couple downsides, as I mentioned. The dong just gets in the way of the magazine changes, and the Ultimax Picatinny rail. Do I think this gut rifle is worth the, $1,800 price point? I'm just kind of throwing that out. That's kind of what I remember it being. I think it is. It is. I think you get a lot of gun for that, and probably, as I said, it should cost you more for what this rifle is and everything you get with it. Is this the rifle for me? Oh, as much as I love this thing, and remember, I'm not necessarily an AK guy. I only got about 4 or 5 AKs. It might not be the one for me. I might spend that money elsewhere, but it's only because the issues with it bother me enough, not cosmetically, but ergonomically. As I said, this, which I guess I could change myself, but if you're buying such a high quality, nice rifle from a company like Meridian Defense, I think you kind of want to keep it stock. So I would not want to take that apart or change the design, but I do like it. So this goes on my list of guns I absolutely love and absolutely like, but I don't know if it's the right one for me. But it is still awesome, and I can definitely appreciate this thing. So on my ranking system of what I think about the rifle overall, this thing is going to get 4.75 stars out of 5. Okay, and that little bit off is going to be because the magazine changes with this and that and the heat from the Picatinny rail. And that's it. That's my only gripe. The quality that goes into this is awesome. I've really fallen in love with the distressed finish. That is awesome. And I am really impressed with the quality that Meridian Defense puts into their AKs. Now, maybe I should deduct a little bit because of the wait time. I mean, 40 weeks, that's a lot of time. And I appreciate companies that take such time and put in so much quality into their guns. But an AK is supposed to be just slap it together, go. It's supposed to be cheap, you know? But I'm not gonna fault them for it, but I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to put out that kind of money in today's times when you don't know what's happening when it comes to future legislation, and then be out that money for 40 weeks, longer than an NFA tax stamp. So maybe that's a little bit of a gripe on my part. But the rifle itself is great. If you can pick one of these up, maybe in the aftermarket, a used, definitely go for it. This thing is incredible. When I've had the gun apart, I don't see any wear. There's no mushrooming on the back of the bolt. No problems with any of the trunnions, the stock. Everything on this rifle is great. The ALG trigger is great. As I said, I don't know if that's Matt's aftermarket option on that. What else can I say about it? I think, honestly, that's about it. Oh yeah, the Tango Down grip. I'm impressed. I may have to get one of these for my kind of clone builds. I really like this grip a lot. So there you go. So the Meridian Defense Pestilence, which I think was very apropos for the year 2020, and their Apocalypse series rifle from Meridian. Man, this thing is awesome, and I'm so honored and humbled that I got to shoot this thing because so many people have been telling me how great this rifle is, and I completely agree. 4.75 stars out of 5. Thank you, Matt, for letting me borrow this thing. So have you guys ever shot a Meridian Defense or shot any of their Apocalypse series rifles? I kind of like to get my hands on a couple of the others and see how they compare. They have different accessories and kind of different philosophies when it comes to how they look cosmetically. They're really cool. Go check them out. I think 3 of them have already been sold out, and I think you can still buy these. So there you go. So have you guys shot a Meridian Defense AK? What do you think? So let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.